To see someone's true character, pay attention to just two things. In a world where appearances can be deceiving, truly understanding someone's character is harder than ever. People smile, say the right things, and play their roles well. But are they genuine or just wearing a mask? The truth is, no one can fake who they are forever. You don't need to be a psychologist to see through the illusion. There are two simple but powerful behaviors that reveal a person's true nature. These everyday actions, often overlooked, separate those who are sincere from those who merely pretend. Once you recognize them, you'll no longer be fooled by words alone. You'll see people for who they really are, allowing you to build stronger, more meaningful relationships. This is one of the great Stoic secrets, judging character not by what people say but by what they do, time and time again. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life, where we apply modern Stoicism to real-world challenges. Let's uncover these two key behaviors that reveal the truth about people. Two things to see through a person. Number 1. How a person treats those who can't return the favor. If you really want to understand someone's true character, don't just pay attention to their words. Watch their actions, especially in moments when they have nothing to gain. It's easy to put on a facade of kindness when there's a reason to impress someone, whether it's a boss, a client, or a person of influence. But true integrity isn't about how someone behaves when the spotlight is on them. It's about how they act when they think no one important is watching. The way a person treats a waiter, a receptionist, a janitor, or even a stranger on the street is one of the clearest windows into their soul. Do they acknowledge others with a smile, a nod, or a simple thank you? Do they show patience when someone makes a mistake, or do they lash out with irritation and entitlement? These small, seemingly insignificant interactions often reveal more about a person than their grandest gestures. After all, it's easy to be polite when there's a reward involved. But the real test of someone's values is how they behave when there's nothing to be gained. Seneca once said, "A good character, when established, is not easily overthrown." And isn't that what a character truly is? Not a performance for the powerful, but a steady, unshaken way of being, consistent regardless of who is in front of you. When you see someone acting with arrogance or cruelty towards those in a weaker position, understand that this isn't just a fleeting bad mood. It's a reflection of something deeper. It often signals insecurity, a fragile ego, or a desperate need to feel superior by making others feel small. People who are truly confident, truly at peace with themselves, don't need to assert dominance over those who can't fight back. Instead, they understand that real strength lies in kindness, in choosing patience over frustration, respect over condescension. And that's the real challenge, isn't it? To not just recognize this truth in others, but to embody it ourselves. So take a moment and ask yourself, how do you treat those who can do nothing for you? When you're in a rush, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, do you still make an effort to treat others with basic dignity? Because the way you answer that question says more about your character than any title, success, or social standing ever could. Modern Stoicism teaches us that true character is not built in rare moments of heroism, but in the simple everyday choices we make. It's the small interactions, the ones that seem unimportant, that truly define us. And here's something to think about. If someone is cruel to a stranger today, what does that say about how they'll treat you when you are no longer useful to them? Wouldn't you rather surround yourself with people whose kindness isn't conditional, whose goodness isn't dependent on circumstances? The next time you meet someone, don't just listen to their words. Words are easy. Instead, watch their actions. Watch how they treat the people society often overlooks. That's where the truth is. And if you want to practice the principles of modern Stoicism, start with yourself. Be the person who treats others with respect. Not because you have to, not because you expect something in return, but because that's simply who you are. Because at the end of the day, your true character isn't defined by the grand moments. It's shaped by the smallest, most ordinary choices you make every single day. If you've ever observed how someone treats those who can't offer them anything in return, whether it's a waiter, a janitor, or even a stranger on the street, comment, "Actions reveal character" below. Your experiences and insights can help build a community that values genuine kindness, integrity, and the small everyday choices that truly define a person. Remember, character isn't measured by grand words, but by the way we treat others when there's nothing to gain. Have you ever witnessed a moment that revealed someone's true nature? Share your thoughts. Number 2. The psychological value of keeping promises. When it comes to truly understanding a person's character, few things are more revealing than how they handle their promises. It's easy to talk about values, to present an image of integrity, but the real test comes when words must be backed by action. A person's reliability in keeping their word isn't just about politeness or professionalism. It's a direct reflection of their internal compass. As the Stoics teach, virtue isn't in what we claim, but in what we do. Seneca once said, "Promises are the uniquely human way of ordering the future, making it predictable and reliable to the extent that this is humanly possible." When someone makes a commitment and follows through, no matter how small, they demonstrate that they respect those around them and that their word holds weight. It's in these small everyday acts, showing up on time, following through on an agreement, honoring even the most minor commitments, that true integrity is revealed. The world is filled with people who make grand gestures proclaiming loyalty and trustworthiness, yet fail to show up when it matters. But as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. It's the consistent actions, not the loud proclamations, that define a person's character. Breaking a promise, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a sign of deeper unreliability. When someone repeatedly makes excuses, overpromises and underdelivers, or dismisses their broken commitments as unimportant, it speaks volumes about their respect for others. After all, what does it say about a person who treats their word so lightly? Epictetus put it bluntly, "What ought one to say then as each hardship comes? I was practicing for this. I was training for this." Life will always present obstacles, and keeping one's word is often inconvenient or difficult. Yet this is precisely when character is tested. If someone honors their commitments even when it would be easier not to, that is the mark of a person with true integrity. It's easy to be reliable when circumstances are favorable, but when the situation changes, when a more tempting opportunity arises, when fulfilling a promise is no longer personally beneficial, that's when a person's real nature is exposed. Perhaps the most telling moment is not just whether a person keeps their promises, but how they respond when they fail to do so. Do they acknowledge their mistake, take responsibility, and try to make amends? Or do they simply move on as if their word meant nothing at all? A broken promise isn't always an indictment of someone's entire character. After all, we are all human, but the way one handles their failure is just as revealing as their success. As the saying goes, a man is only as good as his word. This is especially relevant in modern life where trust is currency, whether in personal relationships, business, or leadership. We live in a world where empty words are abundant, but genuine reliability is rare. The Stoics remind us that our reputation is built not on what we intend, but on what we deliver. If you want to know who you can truly rely on, observe how they treat commitments both big and small. Do they follow through when there's nothing to gain? Do they honor their word when no one is watching? These are the Stoic secrets to understanding true character. In a time when trust is fragile, and many prioritize convenience over principle, your ability to keep your word sets you apart. It is not just about impressing others. It is about living with personal integrity, about knowing that your actions align with your values. If you want to command respect, cultivate reliability in the smallest of things, because the small things define the big things. Stoicism teaches us that we should be indifferent to external rewards, but unwavering in our commitment to virtue. Keeping your promises isn't about seeking approval. It's about maintaining your self-respect, about being the kind of person others, and most importantly, you yourself, can trust. And so, when you evaluate the character of those around you, don't be swayed by their words or the grandeur of their promises. Instead, watch how they handle the simple, everyday commitments, and you will see their true nature laid bare. Understanding someone's true nature isn't about grand gestures. It's about their smallest, often unnoticed actions. How they treat those who have nothing to offer in return, and how they keep their promises reveal the depth of their character. These two simple yet profound indicators separate the genuine from the deceptive. But how can we take this a step further? How can we sharpen our ability to detect sincerity beyond these two principles? How to detect sincerity through behaviors. Recognizing character is one thing, but detecting sincerity in real-time interactions requires an even keener eye. Sometimes words lie, but the body, the face, and the subtle behaviors tell the truth. If you want to uncover authenticity in people, you need to learn the language of their actions. Number 1. Micro-expressions for authenticity. I've come to realize that people often reveal their true character in ways so subtle that they themselves may not even be aware of it. It's not always in what they say, but in how they say it, or, more importantly, in the tiny involuntary facial expressions that flash across their faces for just a fraction of a second before disappearing. These are micro-expressions, the raw, unfiltered glimpses into a person's genuine emotions, moments of truth that emerge before their conscious mind has a chance to suppress or alter them. They act as windows into the soul, exposing emotions that words might try to disguise. You've probably seen it before. Someone congratulates you, their words sound supportive, but for the briefest moment their eyes narrow slightly, their lips tighten, or there's a flash of something that looks a lot like envy before they quickly recover. That moment, however fleeting, tells you everything you need to know. It's not just about catching someone being insincere. It's about understanding that true feelings can't always be masked, no matter how well someone crafts their words. This phenomenon happens because micro-expressions originate in the limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions. Unlike our rational mind, which can manipulate words and control body language to an extent, the limbic system reacts instinctively and instantaneously. That's why these micro-expressions are nearly impossible to fake. A person who is truly at peace with themselves, who speaks with sincerity, will show congruence between their words and their expressions. When they're happy for you, their entire face will reflect it. A warm smile that reaches their eyes, an open expression of joy that's impossible to counterfeit. But when someone's emotions don't match their words, there will always be a disconnect, a momentary inconsistency that gives them away. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In other words, no matter how much a person tries to conceal their true nature, it will always find a way to surface. What they think and feel internally will inevitably shape their outward expressions, their tone, their posture, and their presence. The key to understanding people at this level is to pay close attention, especially in moments of stress, discomfort, or pressure, because that's when the truth has the hardest time staying hidden. When emotions are running high, people lose the ability to carefully control their expressions, and their real selves emerge. In these moments, you might see a flicker of contempt in the way someone glances at another person, a tightening of the jaw that betrays frustration, or a micro-movement of the lips that hints at suppressed anger. These signals may be brief, but they are powerful indicators of what's truly going on beneath the surface. In a world where so many wear masks, learning to recognize these cues gives you an incredible advantage. It allows you to see beyond the surface, to navigate relationships with greater clarity, and to discern sincerity from deception. Modern Stoicism teaches us to observe without judgment, to see things as they are, rather than as we want them to be. This skill is invaluable in dealing with people. Rather than being fooled by carefully chosen words or false kindness, train yourself to notice the subtle truths that people reveal unintentionally. This doesn't mean you should become overly suspicious or assume the worst in others, but rather that you should remain aware, understanding that actions and even micro-actions speak louder than words. If you cultivate this awareness, you will move through life with greater wisdom, making stronger, more authentic connections, while avoiding those who merely perform sincerity rather than embody it. The truth always finds a way to surface. All you have to do is be present enough to see it. Number 2. Body language consistency with speech. You can learn a lot about a person's true character if you pay attention to just 2 things. One of them being how their body language aligns with their words. People reveal more than they think through the way they carry themselves, their posture, their gestures, and even their micro-expressions. If you've ever felt that something was off when talking to someone, but you couldn't quite explain why, chances are their body language didn't match what they were saying. Words can be polished, rehearsed, and even deceptive, but the body has a harder time lying. When someone tells you they're open to discussion, but they have their arms crossed tightly, their shoulders hunched, and they avoid eye contact, their body betrays their true emotions. It signals discomfort, defensiveness, or even dishonesty. But when a person is truly open, their body reflects it. They lean in slightly, their arms remain relaxed, their gaze steady. Genuine confidence and sincerity don't require forced expressions or exaggerated gestures. They flow naturally because there's no internal conflict between their thoughts and their physical presence. Have you ever met someone who claimed to be confident but kept shifting in their seat, fidgeting with their hands, or avoiding eye contact? Those small inconsistencies speak louder than any bold words. I once had a friend who always spoke about honesty and loyalty, swearing he was the most trustworthy person you'd ever meet. But every time he made those claims, he would avoid looking directly at me, his foot tapping anxiously against the floor. Whenever he told a story, his hands would move excessively, as if he was trying to convince even himself of what he was saying. And when he promised something, his smile never quite reached his eyes. Eventually, his actions caught up with him. He betrayed those closest to him, proving that his words were nothing more than empty declarations. Looking back, the signs were always there. I just wasn't paying close enough attention. How many times have you ignored those small signals, giving people the benefit of the doubt only to realize later that your instincts were right all along? Understanding this simple yet powerful principle, aligning body language with words, is one of the most underrated Stoic secrets. A person's true character is not revealed in what they say, but in how their entire being communicates it. A sincere individual doesn't have to convince you with elaborate words or forced enthusiasm. They simply are. Their presence exudes honesty without needing to prove it. And the more you refine your ability to observe these signals, the more clearly you'll see who people really are beneath the surface. So the next time you're speaking to someone, don't just listen. Watch. Pay attention to whether their gestures, posture, and facial expressions align with their words. Is there harmony between what they say and how they carry themselves? Or do you sense hesitation, avoidance, or a subtle disconnect? The answers are always there if you're willing to see them. And in mastering this skill, you equip yourself with a deeper understanding of human nature, making you not just a better judge of character, but a wiser, more discerning individual. Number 3. The power of empathy in behavior. If you want to understand someone's true character, don't just listen to their words. Watch their actions, especially in the smallest everyday moments. Empathy, the ability to truly understand and share another's feelings, is one of the clearest indicators of sincerity. It's easy to say, "I care," but real empathy is shown through consistent, selfless actions. A genuinely empathetic person doesn't wait for the perfect moment to be kind. They instinctively offer support, whether or not it benefits them. Think about the people in your life. Who truly listens when you speak? Who notices when something is wrong without you having to say it? True empathy isn't about convenience, it's about showing up in someone else's pain, even when it doesn't directly affect you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself, what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? This kind of reflection teaches us that we all struggle, that we all have weaknesses, and that kindness is not just a virtue, it's essential for a meaningful life. Empathy is not just feeling bad for someone, it's recognizing their pain and taking action. Some people naturally step in to help without hesitation while others look the other way. Have you ever noticed someone patiently listening to a distressed friend or offering a small act of generosity to a stranger? These moments reveal everything about a person's heart. A truly empathetic person doesn't need to be asked to care, they simply do. And it's not about being perfect or seeking recognition. It's about understanding that we are all connected in our struggles, and that even the smallest acts of kindness, a smile, a listening ear, a moment of patience, can mean the world to someone else. On the other hand, a person who consistently ignores or dismisses the struggles of others, who is too absorbed in their own concerns to notice when someone is hurting, shows a lack of emotional depth. Seneca once said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." So ask yourself, how often do you take those opportunities? When was the last time you truly listened to someone without waiting for your turn to speak? Modern Stoicism teaches us that character is not defined by how we act when it's easy, but by how we respond when no one is watching. True empathy is not performative. It's a natural instinct that comes from genuine concern. And here's a challenge. Do you only show empathy when it's convenient, or do you extend it to those who may never repay you? It's effortless to be kind to friends or people whose approval we seek. But what about a struggling coworker? A stranger who looks lost? A service worker at the end of a long shift? A person with true empathy treats everyone with dignity, not because they expect something in return, but because they understand that every person is carrying unseen burdens. When you see someone consistently offering kindness, patience, and understanding, you're witnessing emotional maturity in its purest form. Because empathy requires self-awareness. It asks us to step outside of our perspective and recognize the struggles of others as if they were our own. And in doing so, we not only become better individuals but help create a more compassionate world. So take a moment to reflect. How do you respond to the suffering of others? Do you lean in with understanding, or do you avoid discomfort by looking the other way? If you want to see someone's true character, pay attention to how they treat those who are struggling. Do they offer compassion, or do they retreat into self-interest? That answer will reveal more about them than anything they say. And if you want to embody the principles of modern Stoicism, start by being the kind of person who listens, who cares, who acknowledges the emotions of others, even when it's inconvenient. Because in the end, the measure of our character isn't how we act when it benefits us, but how we treat others when there's nothing to gain. You've just taken a meaningful step toward understanding the power of empathy and how it reveals true character. Now let's put it into action. Leave a comment with the phrase, "Empathy reveals true character," to show that you're embracing these Stoic principles in your life. Every small act of kindness strengthens your journey toward self-awareness and authentic connection. Keep going, your transformation is happening. Number 4. Attention to detail in small gestures. If you really want to understand someone's character, watch the small, everyday gestures they make. Grand acts of generosity may look impressive, but true sincerity is found in the details. Person who remembers your favorite coffee, checks in when you're feeling down, or listens without distraction is showing you who they are, far more than any speech ever could. When someone consistently pays attention to the little things, it's a reflection of their authenticity. They don't do it for praise, but because they genuinely care. This is one of the Stoic secrets to recognizing true character, not by what people claim, but by the quiet ways they show up for others. In today's fast-paced world, where relationships often feel shallow, the ability to notice and act on small details is rare. Think about the people around you. Do they make an effort to remember what matters to you? Do they go out of their way, even in small ways, to make your life better? Seneca reminds us, light griefs are loquacious, but the great are dumb. The most genuine people don't need to announce their kindness. They simply live it. A friend who remembers an important day, a colleague who offers help before you ask. These moments reveal real character. The way someone treats a waiter, follows through on small promises, or acts when no one is watching speaks volumes. These details separate those who are truly thoughtful from those who only appear to be. On the other hand, when someone consistently neglects these small but meaningful acts, it reveals something deeper. A person who forgets promises, overlooks others' needs, or only acts kindly when there's something to gain lacks real sincerity. No one is perfect, and forgetfulness happens, but a pattern of indifference suggests that their concern for others isn't as deep as they claim. It's easy to be fooled by big gestures, but true connection is built in the details. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Someone who genuinely values others doesn't need to prove it. They show it in their daily actions. That's why paying attention to small deeds, or the lack of them, is one of the best ways to see someone's true nature. If you want to measure authenticity, watch how someone treats those who can do nothing for them. Do they extend kindness to strangers or only to those whose approval they seek? Do they keep their word even when it's inconvenient, or only when it benefits them? The best way to truly know someone is to observe how they act when no one is watching, because real character is built in these moments. Stoicism teaches that actions, not words, define us. The same applies to others. Don't be distracted by what they say, but focus on how they make people feel in small ways. These quiet, everyday gestures are the greatest indicators of who someone really is. This is one of the great Stoic secrets to understanding character. Don't listen to words, watch the smallest deeds. Number 5. How they handle conflict. Conflict is one of the most revealing tests of a person's true character because it strips away pretense and exposes their core nature. It is easy to be kind, patient, and agreeable when things are going well, but the real measure of someone's integrity lies in how they handle disagreement, adversity, or confrontation. A person with genuine character approaches conflict with emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a willingness to listen. They don't resort to aggression, passive aggressiveness, or avoidance, but instead seek understanding and resolution. They recognize that disagreements are not battles to be won, but opportunities for growth, both in themselves and in their relationships. When someone handles conflict with maturity, they remain calm, engage thoughtfully, and focus on the issue rather than turning it into a personal attack. They take responsibility when they are wrong, apologize sincerely, and aim for solutions that benefit both sides rather than trying to assert dominance or deflect blame. This is why Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A mature person understands that they cannot control how others react, but they can control how they respond. Conversely, someone who lashes out, becomes defensive, or refuses to acknowledge their part in the problem may lack emotional stability and self-confidence. When conflict arises, observe carefully. Do they listen and respond with thoughtfulness, or do they dismiss your concerns, shift blame, or manipulate the conversation? A person who cannot handle conflict with grace is unlikely to build strong, lasting relationships because trust and mutual respect require the ability to work through disagreements without resorting to hostility or avoidance. Modern Stoicism teaches us to view conflict as a test of our own patience and wisdom, rather than as an attack on our ego. When someone disagrees with you, do you react emotionally, or do you pause, reflect, and engage with reason. Those who are sincere in their interactions do not see conflict as something to fear, but as an opportunity to deepen understanding and improve communication. This ability to face conflict with honesty and composure is what separates authentic individuals from those who merely pretend to be kind when it is convenient. Strong relationships are not built on the absence of conflict, but on the ability to navigate it with mutual respect and integrity. The world is full of people who avoid accountability or manipulate situations to serve their interests. But the ones who stand out, the ones who truly embody wisdom, are those who remain steady in the face of discord, choosing dialogue over destruction. If you want to truly understand someone's character, pay attention to how they respond when tensions rise, because it is in those moments that their true nature is laid bare. Modern Stoicism reminds us that conflict, when handled with wisdom, is not a disruption but a lesson, a chance to refine our own character while discerning the authenticity of those around us. Number 6. Consistency across contexts and people. One of the most revealing ways to see someone's true character is to observe how consistent they are across different situations and with different people. Authenticity isn't about how someone behaves when they know they're being watched. It's about how they carry themselves in every moment regardless of who's around. The person who is genuinely kind will treat a stranger with the same respect as they do a close friend, a coworker, or a boss. Their kindness is not performative. It's ingrained in who they are. But someone who adjusts their behavior depending on the situation, generous to those they want to impress but dismissive or rude to those they see as unimportant, is showing you a fragmented version of themselves. And that version, more often than not, is built on self-interest rather than genuine character. I once knew a man who was charismatic and full of charm in the office, always eager to offer a helping hand when it benefited his reputation. When the boss was around, he was the most pleasant person you could meet, always quick with a compliment, always smiling, always acting as if he cared. But one day I saw him at a cafe snapping at the barista for getting his order slightly wrong. His tone was harsh, his body language impatient, and his eyes filled with entitlement. It was in that moment I realized something. His kindness was not real. It was a tool he used when it served him. That moment made me think, how many times have we misjudged people based on how they act in a single setting? How often do we assume someone is good-hearted just because they present themselves well in one context? Have you ever met someone who seemed warm and friendly in a social gathering, only to discover later that they were entirely different when there was no advantage to be gained? The truth is, real character isn't defined by isolated moments. It's revealed through patterns of behavior over time. This is one of the greatest Stoic secrets: to judge people not by what they say but by how consistently they uphold their values, no matter the circumstances. A truly respectful person doesn't pick and choose who deserves their decency. They extend it to all, whether they are speaking to a CEO, a janitor, or a stranger on the street. A person with integrity doesn't shift their morals to match the room they're in. They stand firm in what they believe, even when no one is watching. And this is the key. People can fake kindness for a moment, they can rehearse humility when it suits them, but no one can pretend forever. Over time, their real nature will always reveal itself in the small, unnoticed interactions, in the moments when they think no one is paying attention. Watch how someone treats those who have nothing to offer them, and you will see their true character. Pay attention to how they behave when they are not performing for an audience, when there is no reward or recognition on the line. Do they remain the same person, or do they shift depending on what benefits them the most? Do they uphold the same respect in private that they show in public? These questions matter because the people you surround yourself with will influence your own approach to life. If you surround yourself with those who lack integrity, you may find yourself justifying the same behaviors. But when you surround yourself with people who remain true to their values in every setting, it encourages you to do the same. The more you sharpen your ability to notice these inconsistencies, the harder it will be for false masks to deceive you. Stoic secrets remind us that actions, not words, reveal the truth. A person's words mean little if their behavior doesn't. Align with them across all aspects of life. Because in the end, true character isn't just about who we are when we're being watched. It's about who we are when no one is looking. Number 7. Verbal honesty and transparency. If you really want to understand someone's true character, pay attention to their honesty, not just in the big moments, but in their everyday words and actions. Verbal honesty and transparency go beyond simply telling the truth. They reveal whether a person is sincere, trustworthy, and willing to be vulnerable. A genuine person doesn't just avoid lying. They openly share their thoughts, intentions, and even their mistakes without fear or manipulation. Have you ever met someone who always seems to shift blame, dodge difficult conversations, or twist the truth to protect their image? That's a red flag. True honesty isn't just about avoiding deception. It's about owning up to failures, admitting when you don't have all the answers, and speaking with clarity, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Transparency builds trust because it signals that a person has nothing to hide. Think about it. When someone makes a mistake, do they take responsibility, or do they scramble for excuses? Do they openly communicate their feelings, or do they mask their emotions to control how others perceive them? Seneca once said, "The greatest thing is to have a soul that is not afraid to speak the truth." That's because real honesty requires courage. The courage to be seen for who you truly are, flaws and all. A person's words should align with their actions. Have you ever noticed how some people say all the right things but fail to follow through? They promise loyalty but disappear when you need them. They preach kindness but speak cruelly behind closed doors. A sincere person doesn't just talk about integrity, they live it. When someone is consistent in their honesty, it creates a foundation of trust. But when their words and actions don't match, you're left questioning who they really are. That's why modern Stoicism emphasizes the importance of truthfulness, not just as a virtue, but as a way to live a life free from deceit, both toward others and toward yourself. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it," he was reminding us that honesty isn't just about being fair to others. It's about maintaining our own integrity. So ask yourself, are you as honest in your words as you are in your intentions? Do you communicate clearly and openly, or do you withhold the truth when it's inconvenient? Verbal honesty isn't just about what you say, it's about how you create an environment where trust can thrive. People who are transparent encourage open conversations, free from hidden agendas and emotional games. They don't manipulate or sugarcoat reality to make themselves look better. Instead, they trust that the truth, even when difficult, is always the right path. And here's the thing, when someone consistently avoids hard conversations, when they speak in half-truths, or when they only tell you what you want to hear, they're not protecting you. They're protecting themselves. Real honesty requires self-awareness and accountability. It means recognizing that being truthful isn't always easy, but it's always necessary. Modern Stoicism teaches us that trust is earned, not demanded, and if someone wants your trust, they must be willing to show their true self, not just the version that is easy to like. So take a moment and reflect. Who in your life speaks with honesty, even when it's uncomfortable? Who follows through on their words with actions? And most importantly, how honest are you with others and with yourself? If you want to see someone's true character, listen to how they speak, how they own their mistakes, and whether their words match their actions. That will tell you more than any promise ever could. And if you want to embody the principles of honesty and modern Stoicism, start by being transparent in your own life. Be the kind of person who speaks with sincerity, who values truth over convenience, and who isn't afraid to be seen for who they really are. Because in the end, honesty is more than just telling the truth. It's about building a life that doesn't require hiding. While words can be rehearsed, Body language and subconscious behaviors rarely lie. Micro-expressions, consistency, and empathy all work together to reveal who someone truly is. These subtle cues separate the genuine from the manipulative. But knowing how to identify sincerity is just one part of the equation. The next question is, what truly defines a person's character? And more importantly, what carries more weight, what they say or what they do? Actions speak louder than words. At the end of the day, character isn't just about how someone appears in isolated moments, it's about the patterns of their actions over time. If you want to know who someone really is, watch what they do, not just what they say. Stay with us to uncover the ultimate key to understanding and trusting others in a world full of empty promises. Number 1. The impact of repeated actions over promises. If you want to understand someone's true character, don't just listen to their promises, watch their actions. Words are easy, but real integrity is proven through consistent behavior. As the Stoics taught, virtue is about what you do, not what you say. A person who keeps their commitments, whether big or small, shows you their true values. Showing up on time, following through on promises, and honoring responsibilities even when inconvenient are the clearest indicators of trustworthiness. Over time, these repeated actions reveal who someone really is. This is one of the Stoic secrets to evaluating character. Pay attention not to what people claim, but to what they consistently do when no one is watching. In today's world where words often hold little weight, consistency is a rare but invaluable trait. Think about the people in your life. Who follows through no matter what? Who keeps their word even when it's difficult? And who constantly makes excuses, cancels last minute, or fails to fulfill commitments? Seneca reminds us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. One of the biggest ways time is wasted is by trusting people whose actions don't match their words. Making a promise is easy, but proving reliability over time is what truly matters. Small, everyday commitments, remembering a promise, offering help without being asked, staying true to one's word build trust. Meanwhile, repeated unreliability slowly erodes confidence, making it clear that someone may not be as dependable as they claim. True integrity isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small, repeated choices that define a person's daily life. A leader who demands high standards but doesn't follow them loses respect. A friend who reassures you with words but never follows through eventually loses your trust. Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, true virtue isn't about appearances, it's about quiet, consistent action over time. A reliable person proves their trustworthiness through countless small acts like bricks building a strong foundation. Over time, that foundation becomes unshakable, proving that their integrity is deeply rooted. If you want to measure someone's authenticity, observe their habits. Do they honor their commitments even when there's no benefit to them? Do they show up time and time again even when it's inconvenient? A person's approach to small responsibilities often reflects how they will handle bigger ones. The same applies to you. If you want to build a reputation of reliability, start with the small things. Show up when you say you will. Follow through even when no one is watching. Build your integrity, not with words, but with action. This is one of the Stoic secrets to understanding character. Reliability isn't about making promises. It's about proving them, one action at a time. Number 2, the value of honesty in everyday interactions. Honesty is one of the clearest indicators of a person's true character because it is in the small, everyday moments, not just in grand gestures, where sincerity is tested. It's easy to be truthful when there is no cost, but the real measure of integrity lies in how someone speaks and acts when honesty is inconvenient, uncomfortable, or even risky. A person who values honesty will express the truth not just when it benefits them, but especially when it requires courage. They won't distort facts, evade responsibility, or sugarcoat reality for personal gain. Instead, they will uphold transparency, even when the truth exposes their own flaws or leads to conflict. This level of authenticity is rare because it demands self-awareness, emotional maturity, and a willingness to be vulnerable. When someone openly admits a mistake, takes accountability without making excuses, and speaks with clarity rather than manipulation, they demonstrate true strength of character. A person who bends the truth, exaggerates, or carefully omits key details to avoid difficult conversations may seem agreeable on the surface, but their dishonesty erodes trust over time. True honesty is not just about factual accuracy. It is about openness, sincerity, and a refusal to mislead others for selfish reasons. Pay close attention to how people communicate in everyday situations. Do they speak truthfully even when there's something to lose? Do they admit when they don't know something, or do they bluff their way through? Do they express their true feelings, or do they hide behind politeness while secretly harboring resentment? Someone who embraces honesty in all aspects of life naturally fosters deeper relationships built on trust and mutual respect, while those who consistently manipulate the truth reveal a lack of integrity. Modern Stoicism reminds us that honesty is not about being blunt or harsh, but about being real, about speaking in a way that aligns with virtue rather than convenience. The ability to trust someone's words is the foundation of meaningful human connection, and those who prioritize honesty, even in small, seemingly insignificant interactions, are the ones who stand out as truly authentic. If you want to understand a person's character, don't just listen to what they say. Watch how they handle honesty when it costs them something, because that is where their true nature is revealed. Number 3. Building trust through small, everyday commitments. One of the most revealing ways to see someone's true character is by observing how they handle small, everyday commitments. Grand gestures may be impressive, but real reliability is found in the little things. Trust isn't built in dramatic moments, it's shaped by consistency in daily actions. Have you ever met someone who talks about loyalty and dependability but fails to follow through on simple promises? They say they'll call but never do. They agree to meet at a certain time but are always late. They nod along when you share something important, only to forget it completely. These small failures may seem insignificant, but over time, they expose whether a person's words actually mean anything. I once knew someone who constantly claimed to value integrity, saying things like, "You can always count on me." But in reality, he never responded to messages on time, constantly canceled plans, and made promises he never kept. It wasn't malice, it was a lack of awareness that reliability isn't about what you say. It's about what you do, over and over again. And that made me wonder, how often do we trust people based on their words instead of their actions? The truth is, real trust is built through consistency. This is one of the most valuable Stoic secrets. Pay close attention to small behaviors because they reveal more than any grand statement ever could. A person who respects your time will show up when they say they will. Someone who truly listens will remember the small details. Those who take commitment seriously, no matter how minor, are the ones who can be trusted when bigger challenges arise. But if someone repeatedly fails in small things, why would they come through when it really matters? The way someone handles minor commitments reflects their overall approach to life. Would you trust someone with a major responsibility if they can't even be counted on for something simple? The key is to look for patterns. Do they follow through consistently, or do they make excuses and dismiss their failures as not a big deal? Because here's the reality. Someone who constantly disregards small commitments is showing you that they don't truly value reliability, regardless of what they claim. And when the stakes are higher, that pattern won't magically change. If you want strong, meaningful relationships in any area of life, friendship, business, or love, trust is essential. and trust is built on small, everyday moments. The person who follows through on their word, the one who makes small but steady efforts, is the one you can truly rely on. Pay attention to those who treat minor commitments with care. They will be the ones who show up when it truly counts. But don't just observe this in others. Ask yourself, do you keep your small promises? Do you show others that they can trust you, not just with major responsibilities, but with everyday reliability? Answering these questions will help you surround yourself with the right people, while also guiding you toward becoming someone whose character is built on integrity and trustworthiness. Because at the end of the day, Stoic secrets remind us that true sincerity isn't found in grand gestures. It's found in the quiet, consistent actions that build trust over time. If you've made it this far in the video, I invite you to comment. Trust is proven in small things below. This simple act shows you understand one of the most valuable Stoic secrets, that true character isn't revealed in grand gestures, but in small daily commitments that build trust over time. There are only a few more lessons to go, so stay tuned, because the last one will surprise you. Number 4. The role of vulnerability in genuine relationships. If you want to understand someone's true character, watch how they handle vulnerability. Many see vulnerability as a weakness, but in reality, it's one of the strongest signs of authenticity. A person willing to be open about their struggles, fears, and flaws values truth over appearances. Think about it. How often do people hide behind perfection, never admitting their mistakes, never letting their true selves be seen? Those who avoid vulnerability may appear strong, but often they're simply protecting themselves from emotional risk. On the other hand, people who embrace their imperfections create deeper, more meaningful connections. They're not afraid to say, "I made a mistake," or "I don't have all the answers." And in doing so, they foster an environment of trust and mutual respect. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That means accepting imperfections in others while having the courage to face our own. When you meet someone who is open about their struggles, who doesn't shy away from their flaws, you're witnessing true emotional strength. Vulnerability is the foundation of real relationships. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to connect with someone who isn't afraid to be real? They don't put on a front or pretend to be invincible. Instead, they allow you to see them as they truly are, imperfect but honest. This kind of openness builds trust because when someone is truthful about their own fears and insecurities, you know they're being honest with you in other areas of life too. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." We often fear showing vulnerability because we imagine rejection or judgment, but in reality it's what makes us human. Those who consistently avoid vulnerability, who never admit to struggle, who keep their emotional guard up, what are they truly afraid of? Are they protecting their pride, their ego, or simply terrified of being seen for who they really are? Modern Stoicism teaches us that strength isn't about being untouchable. It's about having the courage to be real, even when it's uncomfortable. Vulnerability isn't about oversharing or seeking sympathy. It's about being self-assured enough to say, "This is who I am." Emotional maturity means owning your imperfections and being unafraid of judgment. And here's something to consider. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be vulnerable? Do you show people the real you? Or do you keep parts of yourself hidden to maintain control? The most authentic people don't hide behind a carefully crafted image. They recognize that true strength isn't about avoiding discomfort, but about facing it head-on. Those who embrace vulnerability tend to build stronger, longer-lasting relationships because they create a safe space for emotional honesty. Around them, you feel free to be yourself, to speak openly, without fear of being judged. So ask yourself, how do you respond to vulnerability? Do you see it as weakness, or do you recognize it as one of the greatest signs of strength? If you want to see someone's true character, watch how they handle their own imperfections. Do they own their mistakes, or do they shift blame? Do they share their struggles, or do they hide behind a facade of perfection? The answers will reveal everything. And if you want to embody the principles of modern Stoicism, start by embracing your own vulnerability. Be the kind of person who isn't afraid to be seen for who they truly are. Because in the end, true strength isn't about never falling. It's about having the courage to stand back up and say, "This is me." Number 5. Personal growth and self-awareness. True character is often revealed through a person's commitment to personal growth and self-awareness. Those who possess self-awareness have a deep understanding of their emotions, behaviors, and thought patterns. They are willing to reflect on their actions, acknowledge their flaws, and seek improvement without making excuses. As Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." This ability to look inward and adjust accordingly is a key trait of authentic individuals. When someone can admit they were wrong, take responsibility for their mistakes, and make a genuine effort to change, they demonstrate emotional maturity. On the other hand, those who avoid self-reflection, blame others, or react defensively when confronted with their shortcomings often struggle to grow. True self-awareness allows people to navigate relationships with greater empathy, patience, and understanding. It fosters deep connections because those who continuously strive for growth also inspire those around them to do the same. This is one of the Stoic secrets to identifying genuine character. Those who are open to growth are far more reliable than those who cling to stubborn pride. In today's fast-paced world where distractions are endless and self-reflection is often overlooked, personal growth is more important than ever. People who actively work on themselves become better partners, friends, and leaders. They don't seek perfection, but they embrace the journey of improvement. Think about those in your life. Who acknowledges their faults and takes action to change, and who consistently deflects blame, refuses to apologize, or remains stuck in the same patterns of behavior. As Seneca wisely said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Growth is not a one-time effort but a lifelong commitment. Self-aware individuals recognize their emotional triggers, control their reactions, and learn from their experiences, making them more adaptable and resilient. When someone apologizes, sincerely explains their actions, and makes an effort to improve, it is a sign of strength, not weakness. In contrast, those who dismiss feedback or avoid introspection often struggle with genuine relationships because they lack the ability to see beyond their own perspective. The ability to embrace self-improvement also creates space for more meaningful and honest interactions. People who prioritize personal growth are more emotionally stable, leading to better decision-making and healthier relationships. A leader who listens to criticism and applies it effectively earns the respect of their team. A friend who acknowledges their mistakes and makes amends strengthens the foundation of trust. As Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Those who believe they have nothing to improve upon are often the ones who remain stagnant. But those who seek self-awareness and growth develop deeper, more authentic connections with others. They approach life with humility and curiosity, understanding that growth is not about achieving a flawless version of oneself, but about continuous learning and adaptation. If you want to measure someone's authenticity, pay attention to their willingness to evolve. Do they reflect on their actions and strive to improve? Do they handle feedback with an open mind or react defensively? Self-awareness is not just about knowing oneself, it's about using that knowledge to foster positive change. The same principle applies to you. If you want to build meaningful relationships and live with integrity, focus on your own growth. Learn from mistakes, seek wisdom, and never stop improving. This is one of the great Stoic secrets to living a fulfilled and honest life. True character is not about being perfect, but about embracing the journey of becoming better every single day. Thank you for watching and taking the time to explore these important lessons with us. Understanding someone's true character goes beyond words. It's about observing their actions, their consistency, and how they treat others when there's nothing to gain. The principles we've discussed today are not just tools for evaluating others, but also a guide for self-reflection. If we strive to embody honesty, kindness, and accountability in our own lives, we naturally attract people who value the same virtues. This is the essence of modern Stoicism, focusing on what we can control, including our own integrity, and letting go of illusions about others. As the Stoics taught, actions always reveal the truth, no matter how well words are crafted to deceive. If you found value in these Stoic secrets, be sure to like this video, share it with those who may benefit, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more insights on wisdom, character, and personal growth. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our latest videos. Together, let's continue learning, reflecting, and striving to build a life rooted in authenticity and virtue. See you in the next video.